Nobody asks her how she's doing on Mother's Day because she's not a mother. So there is nothing to acknowledge, right? She felt it anyway. In the grocery store with the flower display, in that group chat she went quiet in, even in her own body, that strange hollow ache that doesn't have a name because nobody gave her permission to grieve something she either didn't choose or couldn't have or isn't even sure she wanted. And when you don't have permission to grieve, you don't grieve. You just carry it alone quietly for years. Maybe maybe you made a choice, a clear conscious choice that you stand behind. And still something surfaces on days like today that you don't quite know what to do with. And that's not regret, that's grief. And they're not the same thing. Maybe it didn't happen the way you hoped. Maybe your body had a different answer. Maybe life had a different timeline. Maybe the person you needed wasn't there. And you spent years being strong about it because what else do you do when there's no ritual for this kind of loss? Maybe you genuinely don't know. Maybe the wanting and the not wanting lived in you at the same time, and you are still somewhere in that in between space that nobody talks about. And that uncertainty is not confusion. That is one of the most honest places a woman can stand. Here is what I want you to know. And I'm saying this as someone who works with the nervous system, not to minimize what you carry, but to show you something you may not have been told. Influence doesn't require biology. The nervous system of a child, of any young person, is shaped by every regulated, present adult in their world, not just their mother. The teacher who saw them when nobody else did, the aunt who never flinched at their big feelings, the woman in the neighborhood who made them feel like they weren't too much. That is a nervous system transmission. That is epigenetics in real time. Research on early relational environments show us that felt safety, the kind one calm, attuned person can provide, literally changes how genes express themselves in the people who receive it. So you don't have to carry a child in your body to have carried them in a way that changed who they become and became. Your presence was biological, your steadiness was inherited, your love left a mark at the cellular level. So, whether you choose this path, whether it was chosen for you, whether you're still standing in the middle of not knowing, your grief is real and it deserves a container. You don't need to have wanted it desperately to be allowed to mourn it. You don't need to explain your story to deserve to be held in it. And you are not without legacy. You never were. You just weren't shown where to look for it. I want to ask you something, and I want you to answer it in the comments, not for me, but for the women who scroll down there and find out that they're not alone. What was your life given to, what has your life given to someone that you never got credit for? A child you steadied, a person you saw, a room you made safer just by being in it. Tell me, because this is your legacy and it deserves to be witnessed.